So an amended X30 Senior Second Chance Heat results sheet has been handed to me, but the amendments do not change anything from the top six. Eli Goldstein, Niels Kuhlen, Sean Butcher, Patrick Rundqvist, Camille Donich and Joe Turney all still go through to this race, the X30 Senior Pre-Final. And it's led by Danny Curl. After an amazing weekend so far, 3 wins and a second place. Alongside him on the grid, Mark Kimber with 3 wins and a third place. Those two very much in charge of their game at the moment. Camille Breteau, the Frenchman, has been staying very strong and consistent throughout. He is on the inside line of the second row, but beside him is the man all of them should fear, Clayton Ravenscroft, in the form of his life right now in the KR Sport Machine, in 4th position. Pulled off some incredible battling yesterday. Every time Mark Kimber thought he had him nailed, no he didn't. Clayton Ravenscroft was right there with him. Arnold Milizia and Henke Waldschmidt are on the 3rd row of the grid. Milizia, plenty of experience around this Salbris circuit. We're just picking up carts from the previous race, as they obviously need to be collected. Several of the drivers came a cropper in that one. We lost Victor Soulan, the 62, and it looks like we had a breakdown on the way back home again. I think that might be Remo Kadapik had a breakdown on the way back in from his race. So they're just being collected. But we were talking about Arnold Milizia, 5th position. He's always been up in the top 6 here on his home turf, and he's had some pretty spectacular battles to cope with. But alongside him on the grid is the former Formula 3 Euro Series racer Henke Waldschmidt, who is probably the only person on this starting grid with Formula 1 testing experience, as he did so with the Panasonic Toyota racing team back in 2008. So he knows how to get things done at the front of a race field, and they're about to be sent out onto the grid, with Joey van Splunteren and Rens van Pelt on the 4th row, Carlos Saval and Thomas Fleming on the 5th row of the grid. From Sim Liedmar, Enzo Giraud, Noah Rouvers and Vincent Marcerou, with the top 20 being completed by Nicolas Pico, Owen Byatt, who has come up from the back of the grid on 4 occasions, Morgan Porter, Hans Morin, Kike Bordes-Cotes and Philippe Varver in 20th place. Then Max Pilker, William Godefroid, Etienne Chaly, Jordan Brown-Nutley in 24th, Thanapongpang Sutumnu all the way back in 25th, he's not happy. Danny Bunshu in 26th place. From Harry Platten, Ruben Moyer, Eli Goldstein, Niels Kuhlen, Sean Butcher, Patrick Rundqvist, Camille Donich, and dead last is Joe Turney. But is he going to finish there? I doubt it somehow. He's going to be charging his way through from the very back of the field. But from his point of view, now he's made it into the A finals, he has nothing to lose. So let's crack on and get on with it. The pre-final is about to be sent out onto the starting grid. And when they do so, they will do 2 formation laps, exploratory around the circuit. These are the 34 Senior X30 drivers that remain out of the 79 who started the weekend. It's been a rough road to get to this point, but all that separates these guys now are just 2 races of absolutely spectacular battling around the circuit. It's going to be an amazing battle between these 4 on the front 2 rows of the grid. Danny Curl, Mark Kimber, Camille Breteau and Clayton Ravenscroft, with Arnold Milizia and Henke Waldschmidt for close quarters company. And don't count out the 4 men with them in the top 10. Joey van Splunteren, Rens van Pelt, Carlos Saval and Thomas Fleming, all very much with an outside chance to go for victory as well. But with an amazing grid of drivers, 34 of them in total, and 14 laps or 21 kilometers of racing ahead of them. This is going to be a very interesting challenge for them all. So as we wait for the time to tick down, it's going to be an interesting one when they get sent out onto the circuit. We're obviously running a slightly bit behind schedule, but the racing is going to be absolutely fantastic once we get back up to speed again. The marshals have just got themselves back into position, having cleaned up a few of the wreckages from that earlier X30 Junior pre-final. But the X30 Senior pre-final is going to be an interesting one, with at least 14 to 15 drivers on this grid who could stand on the top step of the podium here this weekend, and will do so, one of them within the space of about 4 hours or so. So it's going to be a very interesting conclusion to the X30 Seniors. There are 2 races to go for them, and we're about to find out who is going to get pole position for the main event, the grand final here at Salbris, the first round of the 2018 IAME X30 European Series. There is your grid. Danny Curl, Mark Kimber, Camille Breteau and Clayton Ravenscroft. From Milizia, Waldschmidt, Van Splunteren, Van Pelt, Saval, Fleming, Liedmar, Giraud, Rouvers, Marcerou, Pico, Byatt, Porter, Morin, Bordes-Cotes, Varver. Then it's Pilker, Godefroid, Chaly, Brown-Nutley, Sutumnu, Bunshu, Platten, Moyer, Goldstein, Kuhlen, Butcher, Rundqvist, Donich and Joe Turney. 34 drivers remain in the Senior X30s, and they have 2 races to decide who is going to be the champion here at Salbris. The first weekend of 4 in the IAME X30 European Series, but who will walk away with the Salbris trophy, that magnificent trophy with the French flag atop it. There's one for each of the 4 classes, but the Senior X30 is the most subscribed grid. 79 drivers have attempted to go for it, only 34 remain. So the big question is, who is going to walk away as the fastest, the best, and the most victorious of the Senior X30 drivers? Several of them on this grid have been race winners. In fact, all 4 of the drivers in the top 4 have won a race this weekend. Danny Curl, Mark Kimber, Camille Pruteau, and Clayton Ravenscroft. All of them have been race winners. Towards the back, we also have a race winner in Eli Goldstein, who won the B final to get here on the grid. But it's going to be so close. The Curl versus Kimber battle continues, but this time they've got Pruteau and Ravenscroft to go with them, and that's going to be quite a show. Now at the front of the queue of drivers going around, we've got one of the karts who's going to fall back into position. He's only going to do 1 formation lap by the look of it. I'm not sure who that is that's out of position, but Danny Curl is back into position as he leads the fray. I think it's one of the drivers in the top 6, actually. I think that might have been Henke Waldschmidt, who didn't do the first formation lap. But now he is there in position, so that is good news. So now we're going to see a rip-roaring 21 kilometers of lightning racing between 34 of the best senior kart racers on the planet. 25 countries represented here this weekend from all over the world, not just in Europe, but also into Africa, to Asia, to Australasia, and to North and South America as well. And it's been an absolutely incredible battle that we've witnessed so far. But here in the Senior X30s, there are just 34 karts remaining, 34 drivers ready to do battle. And what a battle it is going to be. Danny Curl for the HTP kart team on pole. Mark Kimber for Strawberry Racing second. Kart Republic France's Camille Pruteau in third. Clayton Ravenscroft for KR Sport. Arnold Malizia for Treffler Racing. And Henke Waldschmidt for the Dimes Racing team. Then Joey van Splinteren for Evolution. Rens van Pelt for Eurokarting. Carlos Saval for FA Racing Spain. And in the top 10, BMR Academies, Thomas Fleming. This is going to be a good one, folks. Hold on to your hats and get yourself a good front row seat, because this is the first of 2 races that will decide the X30 Senior victor here at Salbris. The grid is formed up. They're in 2 perfect rows. We wait for the lights to go out. They do now when we're racing, and it's a brilliant start from Danny Curl. Kimber's going to get squeezed out. Pruteau goes to the inside line. Kimber's going to try and keep himself in position, and he's done so. Round the outside of 2. Pruteau's to his inside. He's going to try and hold on to it round the far side. Kimber keeps second place. Danny Curl leads it. Kimber is second, and the rest of the field swarm through with Pruteau in third position. It looks like Malizia has got past Ravenscroft to move up into 4th place, but that's just the start of it. Kimber's defending from Pruteau early on as he tries to hold on to that second place and work with Camille Pruteau to close up on the race leader, Danny Curl. Malizia is 4th. Ravenscroft is 5th. Henke Waldschmidt is tucked up behind Joey van Splinteren at the moment. It's been an amazing start by Thomas Fleming, but there's an off. There's an off further back. That is Sim Liedmar, I do believe. So Sim Liedmar, the Estonian, has come off the course up at turn 6. No, that's not Sim Liedmar. My apologies. We'll try and pick up who it is in a moment. But Sim Liedmar, I've just spotted him in the mix. There he is. But as they come across the line, it is Danny Curl from Mark Kimber. Camille Pruteau is 3rd place. A little far back is Clayton Ravenscroft, having got past Tom Fleming into 5th position. Malizia is down to 6th. So Clayton Ravenscroft is back into P4. Who is it that's not made it round? I'll try and pick it up in a moment. But we've had an off up at turn 6, so there's going to be yellow flags on the way to turn 6. The marshal is there as well. Yellow flags at 6. But Kimber had already got past Danny Curl before they got there, so that's fine and dandy. So Mark Kimber leads the way. I'll try and pick up who it is that didn't come around at the 34 kart field. But Kimber leads the way with a battle from Danny Curl. It was Thana Pongpang Satumnu. So Thana Pongpang Satumnu did not come around. And it's him that's there up at turn 6. What a shame for the Thai driver, as his day is over. Well, certainly his pre-final is over. He'll have to start the grand finale from the back of the grid. Kimber leads, Curl second, Prateau third from Ravenscroft, Fleming, Van Splunteren, and then it's Arnold Milizia down to 7th place now from 3rd on the grid. Kimber, Curl and Prateau, race winners thus far. Ravenscroft likewise, but he's a little further back. He's going to need to get some assistance from Thomas Fleming if he's going to move slightly further forward. Then it's Van Splunteren, Milizia. Oh, a good overtaking move there. That looks like Van Pelt has got past Milizia into 7th place. Then it's Giraud in 9th position. Saval, Waldschmidt and Owen Byatt, as you can see there on the infield. Thanapong Pangsatumnu walking away, rather dejected, having come off at turn 6. Then it's Marceau in 13th from Ruvers, Pico. Then it is Jordan Brown Nutley in the 202. Then it is William Godefroid. Back to the front though, and Mark Kimber's got a little bit of breathing space between himself and Danny Curl. Camille Prateau trying to come through. Ravenscroft getting some assistance from Fleming and the 204 of Joey Van Splunteren, the Dutchman. Some really exciting racing so far, but Kimber's in the front. Curl second, Prateau is third. Then it is Clayton Ravenscroft with a lot of pressure from Thomas Fleming behind him. Up the inside comes Camille Prateau. He gets second off Danny Curl. Danny Curl's going to try and come back at him, but now these two can work together. So Danny Curl tucked up behind Camille Prateau. Fastest lap of the race from Owen Byatt on a 62.090. Byatt's doing well. He's come up 5 places already to 11th, and he's still climbing. So Prateau past Danny Curl. Kimber in the lead by 0.4 of a second. Ravenscroft is 4th and trying to get some assistance from Fleming and Van Splunteren to work with him. Rens van Pelt, Arnold Milizia, Anzo Giraud, Carlos Saval, Owen Byatt and Henke Waldschmidt all the way down in 12th. So Van Pelt has made the move on Van Splunteren to go up to 6th place. Good moves from Pico and from William Godefroid to go past Noah Ruvers. Morgan Porter is there in 17th position in front of Jordan Brown Nutley with Max Pilker and Sim Liedmar down in 20th. Great racing across the line. Camille Prateau has got himself a tiny bit of a gap over Danny Curl. Ravenscroft is still 4th. And we've got somebody towards the back. That is the 250 of Philippe Vava. So Vava has got himself into an incident there at some point, and Vava has come off worse. So Vava is now down at, oh sorry, no, that's 258. That is Rundqvist, my apologies. So Rundqvist is down at the back of the field. I'm not quite sure what happened to Patrick Rundqvist to keep him back there, but that is where he is. Kimber, Prateau, Danny Curl, Ravenscroft, Van Pelt and Fleming is the order at the moment. So Rens van Pelt has made the move for the top 5 and got past Tom Fleming. There's some more battling to come as Kimber runs in front of Prateau and Danny Curl. Arnold Milizia comes up to 7th place past Joey Van Splunteren. But there's still some great battles to come in this one. This is only lap 5. We're about to go into lap 6 of 14. 21 kilometers in total of racing around this Salbris circuit. The drivers love it here. It's a lovely blend of technical sweepers and very fast straights. But there's some tight, twisty corners to negotiate as well. Some of them are faster than you realize until you actually get your kart out on the circuit. And a lot of drivers have been second-guessing themselves through the first few sessions of Thursday and Friday. Once they've hit a rhythm, though, they know how to deal with this circuit. And the gap between these guys in practice has been very slim indeed. Now, I think we've lost another driver from the race. I'm trying to figure out who it is that's not come around, but we have lost a second. I wonder if that's a bit of a contact with Philippe Vava. It's Eli Goldstein. Goldstein coming together with Patrick Rundqvist, I believe. So Goldstein, who did so well to win the B final, is now out of this race. So Goldstein is walking in. That's a real shame for the Belgian. But Kimber leads the way. Prateau second, 3rd is Danny Curl. Rens van Pelt has now come up to 4th place past Clayton Ravenscroft. There is the battle though. Ravenscroft is holding on in front of Fleming, Milizia, Van Splunteren. Owen Byatt now to 9th in front of Enzo Giraud. Still some good battles, and that's a very late lunge from a couple of the drivers in that mix behind Fleming. It looks as though we've got Van Splunteren and Owen Byatt making the move on Arnold Milizia. The race leader, Mark Kimber, does a 62.056 to try and stretch out that advantage. But there's 2 places been made up as Milizia has dropped to 9th behind Van Splunteren and Byatt. And I think we've also had Henke Val. Oh, there's a warning flag for Niels Kuhlen. Niels Kuhlen, the 314, has been given a warning flag. Now, I'm not sure what that's for. We've got another cart off up at turn 6 actually, so we've got another retirement. Now, is that why the 314 is being given a warning flag? Is he judged to have been the cause of that incident? I don't know, but we've certainly lost another cart up at the top, and I'm trying to pick out who it is. I'll have to wait until my timing screen updates to the tail end of the field. Kimber still leading Prateau and Danny Curl. Fourth is Rens van Pelt in front of Ravenscroft, Fleming, Van Splunteren, Bayet, Malizia and Enzo Giraud in the top 10. That's how it looks for the moment. But Prateau has got a bit of a gap on Danny Curl. It's not a major issue. Tom Fleming is playing defensive at the moment as he tries to hold on in front of his combatants. But Kimber, Prateau and Danny Curl, Rens van Pelt, Ravenscroft, Van Splinteren's got past Thomas Fleming. So just looking down the order, I should be able to get an idea as to who it is that's off up at turn 6 in just a moment. But it's Kimber, Prateau and Danny Curl for the moment. It's Enrique Bordes-Cotes. So Enrique Bordes-Cotes, Kike Bordes-Cotes is out of the race. And that's a real shame for the Spaniard. He was doing a good job in that one, battling his way forward. Danny Curl still up behind Camille Prateau. Mark Kimber wants to stamp his authority on this one. He won here last year at Salbris. He started his weekend in perfect form. It was only when Clayton Ravenscroft came to town that he ended up being defeated. Ravenscroft is in 5th place, but he has shaken off the tail behind him. So there's still an opportunity for him to move further forward. But he's got to keep digging. He's got to keep believing. Vincent Marceau has come up to 11th place now, past Henke Waldschmidt. Carlos Saval is 13th from William Godefroid. Morgan Porter, Nicolas Picot, Jordan Brown-Nutley, Sim Liedmar, Max Pilker, and in the 20th position, it is Noah Rouvers in front of Danny Bunchou, Hans Morin, Philippe Vava, Etienne Chilly, the Frenchman. And then you go to the far side of the field, Niels Koenen in front of Joe Turney, now 26th, from Sean Butcher, Harry Platten, Camille Donich, Ruben Moyer, and at the back in 31st is Patrick Rundqvist. We've lost Bordes-Cotes, Goldstein, and we also lost one on the first lap as well, but memory escapes me as to who it was. So much has happened in this race. Kimber is your leader. Prateau second from Danny Curl. Rens van Pelten, Clayton Ravenscroft. Across the line they come, the 5 of them together. Ravenscroft trying to stay with them. 6th place Van Splunteren. Bayet is right on his tail. Owen Bayet could crack the top 6 here. He is right on the back of Joey Van Splunteren. You never would have predicted that for Owen Bayet coming into this weekend, or certainly coming into today, having started all of yesterday's races after a disappointing qualifying session from the back of the grid in each of his heats. He is now looking to break the top 6 overall. That would be amazing. So still they fight on, still the battle continues, and still the racing is magnificent. Here's Joey Van Splunteren trying to hold off the attentions of Owen Bayet. This is for the top 6. And Joey Van Splunteren getting a lot of pressure from Owen Bayet as they come through. Look at this squabble a little bit further back. This is led by Vincent Marceau, at least it was, because now Malizia has tried to come through and get past, and Malizia has got the job done on the exit. Saval, Waldschmidt and Morgan Porter in that mix as well. So too is William Godefroid. But the leaders are through once again. Mark Kimber, a new fastest lap, 61.749. Camille Prateau, however, is the fastest in the final sector. So Kimber, Prateau and Danny Curl. It's looking quite settled in the top 3, but they are getting some attention now from Rens van Pelt. Van Pelt is closing them up. And if Van Pelt can catch them, then maybe Ravenscroft could be there as well. But if Ravenscroft remains where he is in 5th position, then he will have the inside line for the final. And as far as he's concerned, that's not a bad place to be. So Kimber leads, Prateau 2nd, Danny Curl 3rd, Rens van Pelt 4th, Ravenscroft 5th, and Joey Van Splunteren 6th. With Owen Bayet in 7th, it looks like it's going to be an all-British inside line in the first 4 rows, but there's still great battles further down the field as it looks like we've had a change of position. Porter's moved up to 12th ahead of Godefroid, Brown, Nutley and Liedmar. Waldschmidt is down to 16th place. Across the line and 3 laps to go for Mark Kimber in front of Camille Prateau and Danny Curl. Rens van Pelt in 4th, Ravenscroft in 5th, losing a little bit of ground to the 6th place battle, Van Splunteren and Bayet. Bayet is being very intelligent here, he's working with Van Splunteren, and they're trying to charge up towards Ravenscroft. Owen Bayet in 7th position. How is he doing this? Brilliant work. Great racing all the way down the field. These guys know they're the last ones in contention, so they are going to continue fighting right to the finish. but some absolutely magnificent racing here at Salbris. The sunshine of France has given us an absolutely terrific race, and this is only the pre-final. You know that the X30 senior final is going to be even more incredible than this. Kimber, Pretot and Danny Curl chased down by Rens van Pelt now in 4th place. Ravenscroft hanging on to 5th from Joey van Splinteren and Owen Byatt. 8th place for Tom Fleming in the BMR car. And then comes the chasing pack, led by the Frenchman Arnaud Milizia and the Spaniard Carlos Saval in front of Vincent Marceau. 12th is Morgan Porter. 13th, William Godefroy from Jordan Brown Nutley. Sim Liedmar up to 15th. Nicolas Pico is 16th. Then it's Henke Waldschmidt, Max Pilker, Danny Bundschuh and Enzo Giroud in 20th. But Mark Kimber has done everything he needs to do to get himself back into top form once again. Starting from 2nd on the grid, he positioned himself nicely at the start, made good use of those opening couple of corners, lost the lead a couple of times, but once he knew the lead was there, he made good work of it. He's not done yet. Pretot is not far away, but now Danny Curl's got some issues. Rens van Pelt is closing him up. So the Belgian, Rens van Pelt, could still have something here. Let's not forget, he should have been in contention at Valencia and ended up with an engine seize while chasing Dean McDonald, who's not racing here this weekend. But Rens van Pelt could easily have been in the podium hunters for Valencia. Now he's in the podium hunt here at Salbris. 15 and 16, final corners, and into the lap once again. Kimber looks back, 1 lap to go, and it looks good in the pre-final for Mark Kimber. Can he continue as he did 12 months ago here at Salbris, the first round? There's a little bit of a jostle in the mid-pack. I'm just trying to keep an eye on that. And the leaders as well, as Curl is defending from Rens van Pelt, while Ravenscroft is defending from Van Splinteren and Byatt. The last lap could get spicy here. Look at Danny Curl defending from Rens van Pelt, who tries to go the long way round turn 6 and then cut in for the undercut. Not going to happen. Meanwhile, Ravenscroft is having to be resolute, defending from Byatt and Van Splinteren, and I think Byatt's got through up into 6th place. So Owen Byatt looks like he's cracked the top 6 on the final lap, but looks like it's good for Mark Kimber. He's got enough space from Camille Pretot to be comfortable. He just keeps on going. Ravenscroft and Byatt are hanging on in front of Joey van Splinteren. Ravenscroft is being ultra defensive at 5th place. He does not want to lose that. But Mark Kimber comes into the final turn, and it's the victory for Mark Kimber once again. He wins the pre-final. 2nd for Pretot, 3rd for Danny Curl. No, Van Pelt got him. Van Pelt got him at the last. So Van Pelt beats Danny Curl to 3rd place, and that crucial inside line for the final. Ravenscroft is 5th. Owen Byatt fights his way from the back of every single heat he started to 6th overall. That is without a doubt the drive of the weekend. Joey van Splinteren, Tom Fleming, Arnaud Milizia and Carlos Saval round out the top 10 from Vincent Marceau. Then it is Morgan Porter and Jordan Brown Nutley. But the man in front is Mark Kimber, looking to win as he did 12 months ago. Camille Pretot and Rens van Pelt are on the top 3 with him. Danny Curl, Clayton Ravenscroft and Owen Byatt finish off the top 6 for the Brits. Van Splinteren, Fleming, Milizia and Saval round out the top 10. Then it's Vincent Marceau, William Godefroy from Porter, Brown Nutley, Sim Liedmar, Nicolas Pico, Henke Waldschmidt, Max Pilker, Enzo Giroud, Danny Bundschuh, Hans Morin, Philip Vava, Niels Kuhlen. Joe Turney did not make the progress he was expecting to make, in 24th position in the end, from Noah Ruvers, Butcher, Platten, Shali, Donic, Moyer and Rundqvist, with retirements from Enrique Borges-Cotes, Eli Goldstein and Thanapong Pangsatumnu. Well, Mark Kimber continues as he means to go on with a victory in the Senior X30 pre-final, and that makes things very entertaining.